The night was silent. The wind moved slowly across the dark hills of planet Varric 7. Stars filled the sky, but there was no moon. Only cold shadows and silence. Jack Carver, a human soldier, sat alone near a small campfire. His armor was old, scratched, and dusty. He had been stationed here for months, forgotten, bored, and tired. The war was over, but no one came to take him home. He stared at the fire, lost in thought. Then, it happened. A strange sound broke the silence. A soft beep echoed from his old COM device. Jack grabbed it quickly. The screen blinked with static. A broken voice whispered through, "Help. Help me. They are coming." Jack sat up straight. He adjusted the signal receiver. "Repeat," he said. "Who are you? What's your location?" Static again. Then the voice returned, weak and full of fear. "Please, I'm hurt. I don't want to die." Jack's eyes narrowed. That voice didn't sound human. He looked at the dark hills. "That's not possible," he said to himself. "There are no aliens on this side of the planet. Not anymore." But the signal was real. And someone needed help. Without thinking twice, Jack picked up his gear, shut down the fire, and followed the signal. The night was cold, and the wind got stronger. Trees moved like ghosts. Something about the air felt wrong. He moved fast, but carefully, his boots crunching on dry leaves. His tracker beeped again. The signal was close. After 30 minutes of walking, he reached an old cave near a cliffside. It was hidden behind thick vines. The signal was coming from inside. Jack pulled out his flashlight and stepped into the cave. The walls were wet, and the air smelled like metal and smoke. Then he saw her. A young alien girl, barely breathing, was lying against the wall. Her skin was light blue, her eyes glowing faint green. Her clothes were torn. She had cuts on her arms and legs. 3 arrows were stuck in the ground around her. She looked up at Jack with wide, scared eyes. "Stay back," she whispered. Jack raised his hands slowly. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "I got your signal." Her voice trembled. "They followed me. They're close." Jack stepped closer. "Who are you?" "Allah," she said. I didn't want to fight. I just wanted to leave, but they think I betrayed them." Suddenly, a sharp whistle filled the cave. Jack's instincts kicked in. He turned and saw 3 arrows flying straight toward Allah. Without thinking, he moved. He threw himself in front of her, and the arrows hit him. One struck his shoulder. One grazed his ribs. The third hit his arm. He grunted in pain, but stayed standing. "Get down," he shouted. He pulled out his blaster and fired into the shadows. The cave echoed with light and sound, but the attackers had vanished. Jack dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Blood dripped from his wounds. Isla crawled toward him, eyes wide with shock. You took the arrows for me." He smiled weakly. "Yeah? Dumb idea, huh?" She shook her head. "No one's ever done that. Not for me." Jack leaned against the wall, his vision blurred. "We need to move. They'll be back." Isla helped him up. Despite her own pain, she held his weight. They limped deeper into the cave, into the darkness. Back outside, in the trees, hidden figures watched. One of them raised a black blade. "He protected her," the figure said coldly. The human interfered. "We'll have to kill them both now." The others nodded, silent, deadly. Back in the cave, Jack and Isla found a small hidden room. Safe for now. He sat down, exhausted. She tore a piece of cloth from her sleeve and wrapped it around his bleeding arm. "Why did you help me?" she asked. Jack looked at her with tired eyes. "Because someone had to." Ayla looked at his wounds, then at his face. "You're not like the others," she said softly. Jack smirked. "No, I'm worse." They both laughed just a little. The fire in Jack's chest burned. The arrows had done damage. But something else was burning now. Something stronger than pain. A reason to fight again. Asterisk. Darkness surrounded them, inside the cave's deepest chamber. The only light came from a broken lamp and the soft glow from Alla's skin. Jack sat against the wall, his breath heavy, blood drying on his arm. Pain pulsed through his body, but his eyes stayed on the girl, the alien who should have been his enemy. Ayla sat across from him, her hands folded tightly. She didn't speak for a while. Only silence filled the space until she finally whispered, "You should have left me." Jack didn't answer. He took a deep breath, wincing as the arrow wound throbbed again. "I've seen men run from gunfire," he said, "but not from guilt." Ayla looked at him, confused. "Guilt?" Jack nodded. "If I had left you there, I wouldn't sleep tonight, or any night." She lowered her head. "You don't know who I am." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Then tell me." She hesitated. Then, slowly, she reached into a hidden pocket of her clothes and pulled out a small metal ring, silver, with a strange glowing mark. "This is my crest," she said. "I'm not just any girl. I'm Princess Ayla of the Xeris Dominion." Jack stared at her, stunned. "Your royalty?" She nodded. "But I ran away. I refused to lead the war. My father wanted to destroy your kind. I said no. Now he wants me dead." The fire in Jack's eyes returned. "So your own people are hunting you?" Ayla's voice cracked. "Because I spoke of peace. Because I said humans were not monsters." Jack leaned forward, ignoring the pain. "You're right. We're not monsters. But we're not saints either." They shared a long, silent look. Two enemies from different worlds. Now allies. Or maybe something more. Suddenly, the ground shook. Dust fell from the cave ceiling. Ayla stood, alert. "They found us." Jack grabbed his rifle, limped to the entrance. Kay meeked outside. Shadows moved between the trees, silent, too fast for soldiers. "They're not guards," Jack said. "They're hunters." Alla's face turned pale. "Cyber hunters, my father's. Personal killers, half alive, half machine. They feel no pain." Jack gritted his teeth. Perfect. He tossed Ayla his backup weapon, a short electric knife. "Ever use one?" She caught it, only in training. "Then you better pass." They moved together, fast but quiet, through a narrow cave tunnel that led to the back exit. Their path was steep and slippery. Jack's wounds slowed him down, but he kept going. Behind them, metallic growls echoed through the cave. The hunters were close, at the tunnel's end. They burst into the night, into a fog-covered jungle. Trees stretched high, leaves glowing faintly. Ayla touched one. "This place is sacred," she said. "The jungle hides those with pure hearts." Jack looked behind them. "Let's hope it likes bleeding hearts too." They ran through the fog. Every branch cracked like thunder under Jack's boots. His vision blurred, but he didn't stop. Suddenly, one of the cyber hunters dropped from a tree in front of them. Its face was half bone, half metal. Its eyes glowed red. It raised a bladed arm. Jack shoved Ayla aside. The hunter slashed Jack, blocked it with his arm, the same one already wounded by the arrow. Pain screamed through him. He fell back. Ayla charged forward, screaming, and stabbed the knife deep into the hunter's side. Sparks flew. The beast roared. Jack got up, grabbed a sharp rock, and drove it into the machine's neck. The hunter collapsed. "Nice work," Jack said, breathing hard. "We make a good team," Ayla replied, still shaking. But the danger wasn't. Over another hunter dropped from the trees, and this one didn't attack. It simply scanned Jack. A red beam moved up and down his body. Then it spoke. Subject identified. Human DNA scan complete. Pattern. Matches classified prophecy. Jack frowned. What did it say? The hunter didn't explain. It vanished into the fog. Jack turned to Ayla. What prophecy? She looked shaken. I don't know, but if it's true, you're not just a soldier anymore. Jack looked at his bleeding arm, the pain, the scars. Great. That's exactly what I needed. More mystery. They kept walking deeper into the glowing jungle. Ayla stopped near a stone pillar, old and covered in writing. She pointed to a figure carved into the stone, a man surrounded by flames, standing between two worlds. That's the outsider, she whispered. The one who will either save us or destroy us. Jack looked at the figure. Then he looked at his arm. The place where the arrow struck was glowing, just like the figure's wound on the stone. The jungle was alive, not with birds or animals, but with quiet whispers, soft, eerie sounds that seemed to come from nowhere. And everywhere, fog hugged the ground like a blanket. Trees stretched tall, their glowing leaves casting a strange day. Blue light. Jack moved slowly, his hand gripping his blaster. His arm still burned from the arrow wound, but he kept walking. Ayla followed close behind. Her steps were light, like she had walked this path before, but her eyes showed fear. Something's wrong, she whispered. Jack nodded. Like we're being watched. The trees creaked. A branch snapped. Both of them froze. Then silence again. They kept walking. Deeper into the jungle. Jack had fought in wars, survived ambushes, seen worlds explode. But this place was different. It felt alive, as if the jungle itself was breathing. Tell me about the prophecy, Jack said quietly. The one that glows on my arm. Ayla hesitated. My people believe in a story written before space. Travel. It speaks of a scarred outsider, someone not born of our kind. He appears when the balance breaks. He either saves our world or burns it. Jack raised an eyebrow. And you think that's me? Ayla looked at his arm, where the glow still faintly pulsed. I don't know, but that hunter scanned your blood, and it ran. They reached a strange clearing. The fog was thicker here. At the center stood an old broken tower wrapped in vines. Symbols glowed faintly on its surface. Suddenly, the fog shifted, and they weren't alone anymore. 4 figures stepped out of the mist. Tall, silent, wearing black armor, not machines. Not fully organic either. Their eyes were blank white. Number? Pupils. No mercy. Ayla gasped. They're not hunters. They're mistborn. Jack aimed his weapon. What the hell is a mistborn? Failed experiments, she said. My father's secret. He tried to make perfect soldiers using jungle energy. These ones were lost in the mist. One of the mistborn stepped forward. It tilted its head. Then it spoke, in a voice that was cold and hollow. You do not belong here, human. Jack smiled slightly. I get that a lot, without warning. The mistborn charged. Jack fired. The shot hit, but the figure kept coming. No pain, no reaction. Ayla threw a stone at one of them. It stopped, turned, and reached toward her with long, claw-like fingers. Jack ran forward, tackled the creature, and both fell into the mud. Jack fought hard, using his weight and training, but the mistborn was too strong. It grabbed his throat! Ayla screamed. She raised her hands, and a sudden burst of blue light exploded from her palm. The creature flew backward, crashing into a tree. Jack coughed, gasping for breath. You could do that this whole time. Ayla looked at her. Hand, shocked. I've never done it before. Jack smirked. Nice timing. But more Mistborn were coming. 3, 5. Now 7 shapes appeared in the fog. We can't fight them all, Jack said. We need a plan. Alla looked at the tower ruins. There's an old energy pulse inside. If I can reach the core, I can blast the area, clear the mist. Looked at the creatures, then at Isla. Go, he said. I'll hold them. No, she began. I've got scars to earn. She ran toward the tower. The creatures chased. Jack stepped in front of them, arms wide, blaster ready. Hey, he shouted. You want her? You go through me. 3 Mistborn charged. He fired. 1 fell. Another tackled him. The third slashed his side with a metal claw. Pain exploded through his ribs, but he didn't fall. He fought like a wild animal. His wounds reopened. His armor cracked. But he stood his ground. Inside the tower, Ayla reached the glowing core. It pulsed, alive with ancient power. Please work. She whispered. She touched the center. The jungle screamed. Ah! Shockwave burst from the tower, light and sound crashing through the trees. The Mistborn froze. Their bodies shook. Then turned to Ashdod. The fog vanished. Silence returned. Jack collapsed to one knee, bleeding but alive. Ayla ran to him. You held them off? Alone. Wasn't alone. Jack muttered. You blasted the mist. She helped him up. For a moment, they just stood there, 2 broken warriors, breathing in the clean air. You know, Jack said, this place sucks. Ayla laughed softly. You're just mad the jungle likes me better. He grinned. I saved your life. Again. And I blasted 7 ghost soldiers. Fair trade. They walked forward, bruised, cut, and exhausted, but alive far behind them. Something stirred in the ashes. A tiny, black cube left behind by the mist bow. It blinked once, then whispered in an unknown voice. Phase 1, complete, human, has passed. Begin Phase 2. The jungle was quiet now. Up. No more fog. No more monsters. Just the sound of wind moving through the glowing leaves. Jack limped forward, his shirt torn, blood crusted on his side. Ayla walked beside him, silent. Her hands still shook from the energy blast she had released. Neither of them spoke for while finally, Jack broke the silence. Where are we going? Alla pointed ahead. There's an old ruin, a place my people call the Vault of Origins. It's hidden in the mountain cliffs. The map burned into your hand. It's a path to it. Jack looked at his hand. The skin still glowed faintly with ancient symbols, lines he didn't understand, but somehow felt familiar. This thing better be leading us to answers, he said. I'm running out of bandages. Hours later, they reached the cliffs, huge. Stone faces were carved into the mountain wall. Silent guardians with hollow eyes. Vines crawled over the ruins like they were trying to hide something. At the base was a door tall, triangular, with no handles or buttons. Jack stepped forward. The moment he touched it, the door lit up, glowing the same color as the scars on his arm. It slid open. Of course, Jack muttered. Because glowing wounds are the new keys now. They walked inside. The vault wasn't a cave, it was a machine. Long corridors, ancient lights flickering on as they moved. The walls showed moving images. Like stories told in glowing ink. One showed a human alone in the stars. Holding a spear of light, another showed an alien princess standing beside him. Fire and ice swirling around them. Jack stopped walking. That's us. Asa looked away. This place was built before memory. Some say by gods, some say by time travelers. I say it's creepy, Jack said. But he couldn't stop staring at the images. They were impossible. Yet they were here, and they looked exactly like him and AEY Law. At the end of the corridor was a small room. Inside was a stone table. On it lay a metal gauntlet, shaped like it was waiting for Jack's arm. "What is that?" he asked. Ayla stepped forward. "A tool. A test. A weapon, maybe." "My father searched for it. He never found it." Jack looked at her. "And you think I'm supposed to wear it?" She nodded slowly. "If the vault accepts you, it means the prophecy is real. And if it doesn't, then it might kill you." Silence. Jack stared. At the gauntlet, then at the glowing scar on his arm. He took a deep breath. Only one way to find out. He slipped his arm into the gauntlet. It locked in place instantly. The symbols on the walls began to spin. Jack's body tensed. His eyes widened as a sharp pain shot through his veins. Not like being stabbed. Worse, like his memories were being unzipped. Visions rushed through his mind. He saw cities burning. Not Earth, but Ayla's world. He saw himself standing in front of soldiers, giving orders. But not as Jack. He saw Ayla screaming as energy burst from her hands and destroyed a mountain. And he saw a shadow, tall, powerful, wearing the same gauntlet, but with red eyes and Jack's face. Jack yanked his arm back, gasping. The gauntlet unlocked and fell off. He collapsed to the ground, shaking. Ayla rushed to him. "What did you see?" Jack looked up at her, confused, afraid. "I think I've lived this before. Or maybe I become someone else, someone dangerous." He didn't answer. She sat beside him, quiet. "You saved me twice," she said softly. "Even when you didn't have to." Jack looked at his hands. "What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the danger?" Allah touched the scar on his arm. "Then why do you fight like someone trying to save the world?" They sat there for a while. Two people caught between fate and fear. Suddenly, the wall behind them shifted. A new image appeared. It showed a divided planet, half burning in war, half blooming in peace. Two figures stood at the center, holding hands. Light exploded. Around them, under the image, ancient words appeared in glowing letters. "Trust is the scar that binds what power cannot." Ayla whispered the words. "Maybe. You're not supposed to save the world alone." Far away, in a dark chamber on the royal flagship, Kor Ayla's former guard knelt before her father, King Orzeth. "Your daughter is alive," Kor said, "and she's found the human." The king's face turned dark. "Then begin the next phase," he said. "Awaken the shadow clone. Let him meet the face he fears the most." The air felt heavier now. The jungle was far behind them, and the vault's whispering walls had gone silent. Jack and Ayla stood near the cliffside, watching the clouds roll across a violet sky. Neither spoke. There was too much inside them both. Too many questions, too many shadows. Jack clenched his fists. The glow in his scars had faded, but he could still feel something humming under his skin. Ever since the gauntlet touched him, it was like a second heartbeat had woken up. Something ancient, something not entirely human. Allah watched him quietly. Her hands trembled every time he looked away. She didn't know if it was fear or something else. "You okay?" she finally asked. Jack forced a small grin, still bleeding in 5 places. "So sure, let's call it a good day." She smiled back, but her eyes stayed serious. "We need someone who understands the vault. Someone I can trust," she said. "There's a name, someone who helped me before I ran." Before everything went wrong, Jack raised an eyebrow. "You're just now telling me this?" "I didn't know if he was alive," she replied. "His name is Kor." The name tasted wrong the moment she said it. They left the cliffs that night, following a path through broken stone and overgrown ruins. The sky darkened and strange stars began to blink above them. Stars that didn't match any chart Jack knew. The world felt like it was turning the wrong way. By dawn, they reached a forest clearing. At the center stood an ancient watchtower, mostly crumbled, covered in moss, and waiting there, standing tall in dark armor, eyes calm but sharp, was Kor. Isla froze when she saw him. Her breath caught in her throat. He turned slowly. "Princess," he said, bowing slightly. She stepped forward. "You're alive." Kor nodded. His face was unreadable. "I never stopped searching for you." Jack stayed back, hand resting on his blaster. Something about Kor didn't sit right. Too clean, too smooth. Like a story rehearsed. "You found her," Kor said, glancing at Jack. "The prophecy is in motion." "How do you know about that?" Jack asked. Kor smiled.
"I've read
"The old texts, the outsider, the scars. The vault, I protected her once. I plan to again." "Convenient," Jack muttered. Ayla looked between them. "We need help, Kor. There's something inside Jack. Something the vault awakened." "We think there's more." "There is," Kor interrupted. "There's a second vault. One your father sealed off years ago." Isla's eyes widened. "You never told me. I didn't know if I could trust you," Kor said quickly. Then he turned to Jack. "But now I see. You're the key." Jack's fingers tightened around his weapon. The trio made camp near the tower. Kor spoke of ancient ruins, of hidden war machines, of royal secrets buried under glass deserts. But Jack couldn't stop watching his hands. Soldiers' hands. Clean to clean. That night, Jack sat alone under the stars, sharpening his blade. A voice broke the silence. "You don't trust me?" Kor said, standing behind him. "Didn't say I did." Jack replied. "You're smart," Kor said. "But smart men don't win wars. Monsters do." Jack turned. "What are you?" Kor leaned closer, and for just a second, his left eye flickered red. Jack reached for his blaster, but it was too late. A sudden strike hit Jack's neck. Not enough to kill, just enough to drop him. Darkness swallowed him whole. He woke tied to a tree. Ayla was beside him, unconscious, and Kor stood in front of them, holding the glowing gauntlet from the vault. "I needed your blood to activate it," Kor said calmly. "You did well," Jack groaned. "Why?" "Because you were never meant to save us," Kor replied. "We're meant to lead us into destruction. A weapon born twice." "You lied to her." Kor smiled. "She lies to herself." Then he turned the gauntlet toward Isla, and a pulse of dark energy lit the trees. Jack screamed, "Don't touch her!" But Kor didn't listen. Ayla opened her eyes slowly. Tears formed. "You were like a brother," she whispered. "Hi." "Still am," Kor said. "But this is bigger than blood." He vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a message carved into the ground with fire. "He has awakened. The clone walks. You're already too late." Jack looked down at his arm. His scars were glowing again, but this time they were glowing red. And deep inside the jungle, something else opened its eyes. Something with Jack's face. None. Of his soul, the jungle was still. Not silent, not peaceful. Just still. Like the whole world had paused to watch something unfold. Jack sat with his back against a tree, still bruised from the bindings Kor had used. His wounds hadn't healed, but something inside him had changed. The red glow from his scars wasn't fading. Ayla knelt beside him, quiet. She hadn't said much since they escaped Kor's trap. Her eyes looked different now. Not afraid, not broken. Focused. "Your glow," she said at last. "It's not from the vault anymore." Jack looked at his hands. The red light pulsed in rhythm with his heart. "No," he said. "It's coming from something else now." Allah leaned closer. From him, Jack didn't ask who him was. He already knew. The clone. His shadow. The part of him that wasn't built by time or memory, but by someone else's plan. They moved. Fast after that, no sleep, no food. Just a direction. Something was pulling Jack now, like a wire running through his bones. Not a voice, not a map, just an instinct. By dawn, they reached the ash plains, a dead valley where lightning storms kissed the ground. In the middle stood a black monolith. It hummed with the same energy that lived in Jack's blood. Then he saw it. A man stepped out from behind the stone. Same height, same face, same scars, but colder. Cleaner, like someone had copied Jack's body and deleted all the pain. His clone. But this wasn't a monster. He didn't snarl. Didn't charge. He smiled. "I've been waiting," the clone said. His voice was Jack's, but smoother. Empty Jack stepped forward, slow. "You're the reason I see things I don't remember." The clone nodded. "Because those aren't memories, they're warnings." Of what? Of what you can become. Isla moved to Jack's side. "He's using your mind against you." The clone tilted his head. "Funny, you're protecting her again, just like last time." Jack's breath caught. "What do you mean last time?" The clone stepped closer. "You think you're special. You think you're the first version of Jack Carver to come through this jungle? Take an arrow for the princess and unlock the vault." He laughed softly. "You're not. You're just the only one. Who's still alive?" The ground cracked beneath Jack's feet. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this is a cycle," the clone said. "Every few decades, the vault calls a Jack. They test him, scar him, make him feel like a hero. Then they wipe him out and try again." Jack's head spun. "That's not possible." "Look at your scars," the clone said. "You thought they were earned? They were planted. You're just a seed. I'm the result." Allah grabbed Jack's hand. "Don't listen to him." But it was already too late. The clone raised his palm, a perfect mirror of Jack's scarred hand, and the ground lit up in a circle around them. "I don't want to kill you," the clone said, "because I already am you. But if you take one more step, I will end her." Jack looked at Isla. She wasn't scared. She nodded once. "Do it." She said. Jack stepped forward, and everything exploded. Red and blue lights slammed into each other. As the two Jacks clashed, not just fists energy, memory, fury. The jungle trembled. The sky turned black. Jack fought like a man who had lost everything. The clone fought like someone who had never had anything to lose. Blow after blow. Memory against instinct. Hope against programming. At one point, the clone pinned Jack to the ground. "You're weak," he hissed. "You hesitate. You bleed. You feel." Jack smiled through the blood. "That's why I win." He grabbed the clone's wrist and let the red energy pass through his own body into the clone. The vault's code, its ancient command, only answered to one who had chosen. Pain, not perfection. The clone screamed. The energy burned him from inside. He stumbled back, arms shaking. And Jack stood, still bleeding, still burning, but alive. The clone fell to his knees. Before Jack could speak, the clone looked up, something in his eyes that Jack hadn't seen before. "Regret you broke the cycle," the clone whispered. Maybe that's enough." And he vanished like smoke pulled into the wind. Jack collapsed beside Isla. Barely conscious, she pulled him close, pressed her hand to his chest. "You're still you," she said. Jack whispered, eyes closing, "and I'll stay me. As long as you stay you." Above them, the clouds parted. For the first time in years, light touched the ash plains. But deep underground, something else had begun to wake. Something older than clones, scars, or kings. He opened his eyes to silence. No screams, no thunder. Just wind. Jack lay on smooth stone, the sun warming his face for the first time in what felt like 100 years. His wounds were gone. The scars remained, glowing softly, like they were. Sleeping now, Ayla stood above him, her eyes brighter than ever. "You're awake," she whispered. He sat up slowly. They were no longer in the jungle. This was something else, a platform of white stone, floating above a sea of clouds. Ancient. Towers rose around them, not broken, not abandoned. Alive. "Where are we?" Jack asked, voice hoarse. "The council's peak," Ayla replied. "Above all territory, above politics, above war." Jack stood, his legs weak but steady. "Who brought us here?" She didn't answer. Instead, she turned toward the center of the platform where 12 beings stood waiting. Tall, robed, masked. Not soldiers, not kings, watchers. But between them stood one man, draped in gold and shadow. King Orseth, Ayla's father. Jack's breath caught. The face was older than he expected. Tired, stern, not cruel, but carved from stone. "You faced my hunters," the king said. "You bled for my daughter. You wore the vault. You broke the clone." Jack said nothing. "You were designed to burn," Orseth continued. "And yet, you remain." He stepped forward. "So tell me, human, what will you do now?" Jack looked at the king, then at Ayla, then down at his hands cracked, scarred, glowing with the power of all the pain he had survived. "You expected me to break," he said. "But I didn't. Not because I'm perfect, but because I had a reason not to." The king raised an eyebrow. "And what reason is that?" Jack looked at Ayla. She did. A murmur spread through the council. Orseth said nothing for a moment. Then, softly, "Do you love her?" Jack didn't blink. "Yes." Orseth nodded once. "Then I must kill you." Soldiers stepped forward. Their weapons were not metal. They were made of light. Ayla shouted. "No. You told me if he passed the trial." "This was not a trial," the king said. "It was a reveal of what you are. And what he is." He turned to Jack. "You are not a soldier. You are not a prophecy. You are a mirror. Every time a world touches yours, it reflects the best or the worst." He looked toward the sky, and we are tired of reflecting. Jack stepped forward. "I didn't ask to be chosen. I didn't want your power, but I earned it. I carried the pain. I made the choice. You want to kill me? Fine. But if you do," he pointed to the sky, "you'll still be afraid. Because somewhere, another human will crash here. Another Jack, another Ayla, and you'll still be running." Silence. The king looked at his daughter. "You would give up your crown." For him, Ayla raised her chin. "No, I would give up your kingdom, because it was built on fear." She stepped beside Jack. "I'll build something new. With him." The king didn't move. The council watched. Then he lowered his head and laughed. Quietly, "You sound like your mother." He raised his hand. The guard stepped back. "You broke the pattern," he said. "Now you must carry what comes after." A doorway opened behind him, a portal of soft light. He stepped through it. One by one, the council vanished with him. Only silence remained. Jack turned to Ayla. "Is it over?" She nodded. "The prophecy is done now. It's just life." Jack smiled. For the first time, it didn't hurt. They stood together, on a stone high above all worlds. She took his hand. "You still have the scars," she said softly. He nodded. "They remind me who I was," and who you are now." He kissed her knuckles gently. "Yours, below them, the clouds began to shift. A new day rose on a planet that had only known war. Now, there was something else, a future, and in the sky. A faint mark shimmered, a symbol formed from light and memory. Not of a hero, not of a weapon, but of a human, who chose to feel.